All right, this is episode 22 of Crom Updates, and I am joined once again, with Jason Schoonover. Jason, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today, Kurt?
Good. We just finished up the deluge of rain. I don't know if you guys got it. It was Noah's
Yeah,
Ark.
we had a pretty wet day yesterday. It was kind of nice though, because if it's not raining, we are just getting destroyed by pollen. Everything's completely yellow now.
Yeah. Things are definitely blooming and everything.
Yeah.
But you have completed your Crom Pin-up, and I just have to say, this is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm going to turn it over to you and just go ahead and let you, give some explanation. Anybody that's, first time coming across this Crom the Barbarian revised edition guest artist project, let's just give them a heads up on what's happening.
Yeah. So quick recap. When you had initially asked me to contribute something, you sent over the edition of Crom the Barbarian that you currently have done. And I read through that and found some inspiration, just kind of like in some panels here and there, and, more just kind of having fun with it and exploring it. And then after our conversation, it had occurred to me like, oh, yeah, well, maybe I should take a more fine arts perspective on this. And it got me thinking to a recent visit to the Columbia Museum of Art, which I saw a painting that I've only seen, in textbooks until then, Guido Cagnacci's David holding the head of Goliath, and sketched that up while I was there some, months and months before we had talked, but it kind of came back to me, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of similarities between, like, the elements of sword and sorcery and the story of David and Goliath and King David and all that, and it just kind of clicked with me, and I decided I would try to do my own take on that painting, trying to retain, some elements of it. Like I really like the high contrast chiaroscuro, of it. So I tried to keep with that, and then just beat up the body so that way, David's just a meek shepherd boy, but Crom the Barbarian is kind of the opposite of that. So despite some of their dissimilarities, I found a lot of similarities in kind of the broad strokes of the stories, even if the two characters aren't, incredibly physically similar. I think some of the potential journeys that a barbarian kind of archetype, sword and sorcery archetype hero can kind of go through the same kind of things that are in the David and Goliath story and such. So, be that as it may, I beefed up the body and replaced the sling with a sword, and then just tried to stay true to the original composition of the painting. And I'm pretty happy with the result.
You should be. And yeah, you've also really keeping good on the Instagram, and the YouTube. So giving us some insight. Definitely, it's probably not that well detailed here in this video based on whatever format people are looking at it. Definitely on your phone, you're not going to be able to see just how much detail Jason has put into this. The cross-hatching and the development, even this background, this black dense background is nothing but hatched lines or crossed lines.
I could try to zoom in so you could
looks
get
like
an
fabric.
idea of the texture there, and then and that was one of the challenges with this is like it's two pieces of the comic blue line art paper or whatever, and to make it easier for myself, I broke it down into like sections, which was fine for like the figures, but when I would work the background, I found I had a lot of trouble with not only just the unevenness of the value, but the directions of the lines I was doing. So I ultimately had no choice but to kind of work, the entirety of both pages, just drawing line after line to get the value of the background at least as even as possible.
Right.
And then once I got that done, it was a lot easier to kind of adjust a few things. Like I had to finish off Goliath's hair, which in the painting really recedes into the background. There's almost no distinguishing between the hair and the background.
Right.
So I felt like to accomplish that, like there's very subtle bits of value in the painting. So I wanted to kind of like have this be the same kind of value as the background, but whereas the only difference would be in just the direction of line.
Yeah, nice.
So if you look at it from afar, you don't really, it recedes like in the painting, but if you get up close, you can kind of, you get a little bit more of that texture there. So it's like one of the things that I noticed about this painting was just a lot of the subtleties in the value, even though it's a high contrast thing. When you get into some of those, lighter areas, there are still shifts in value, but they're so subtle.
Yeah.
So while I was cross-hatching and stuff, even if I was going to these really dark areas like the background, I was like, well, keeping this idea of subtlety and distinguishing between form and void, because there's a lot of things in the figures that kind of recede into the background, into void. And I don't know. I think I got that pretty decent. But that was definitely the biggest challenge of trying to recreate the effect of the painting.
I think you mastered it. I really do. I mean, we had talked in the last episode. You had not. I don't even think I think you have just started getting Goliath's head going and stuff. And then I had made the comment that this most definitely is going to be like this will be the cover. And then when you come in the end page, as soon as that first page is going to be this. Yeah. So that's going to be super. That's going to be super sweet to have, as a flip.
And I got a little fancy today, since I was like, well, it's like a few days before the deadline. I don't know if I'm going to do this, but I was like, oh, maybe I can like try to do some.
Oh wow.
Calligraphic lettering, and then scan it and blow it up and basically invert it so that it kind of takes up the space like right here where it's just Crom the Barbarian. But I don't know if I'm going to make that or not. I'm going to try it a little bit more to see if I can make it work. But if not, it's one of those things that it's extra. It doesn't matter if it makes it or not. It'll leave space for any formatting in the book aneye.
Right. Now you've come through, and I am just greatly appreciative of not only the art, you putting all this time, but the time that it takes to put into this and the thought. And it's just been really great because, the revised edition of Crom the Barbarian is, where I'm taking my ballpoint pen pieces that I did back in 2016 and then getting into this more developed value system and drawing.
That looks so good.
I just finished the fourth story and I have it out to Jake as a PDF. So we will spend tomorrow, as a matter of fact, just doing the final kind of walkthrough. He gives me some some good advice and second set of eyes never hurts.
He does, yeah.
So I really do. I love that. But I have potentially 6 artists. One's still out on the fringe just because of the international part of things. But, I've got yourself and Adam Dodds, which I brought in for the finer arts piece of a side of it. I don't know. Have you seen his Instagram feed?
I have not seen it fully inked though. Holy moly.
He's almost done. He has a couple of areas. Today he was actually going to, we met this morning for his update, and he's going to get that completed and then scan it out to me. Man. So this is, these are the 2 pieces that I was really looking to bookend. David Molina and Drawn Sword. They're coming at it from a sword and sorcery fantasy art type of style, but even David Molina's, who I just met with. Now he's not going colored, but his line art, we needed some values. So I just gave him this little trick of taking some, these are just Crayola markers where, you start coloring in darker to lighter just for the values. And then he's been really heavily working with Zipatones. So he's going to he'll assign these colors to Zipatone scales. from there.
Oh, that's a really good method, actually.
Yep.
So what, did he just like print it out and color on top of that?
This is me. He was his his episode update episode. He was, he stopped at this point and said, "Hey, let me talk to Kurt and let me see where I can make some change, make some direction and focus and everything." So so that really came through.
You hit a wall sometimes,
right?
Yeah.
And I'll flash up a quick shot of drawn swords, Crom. So we're doing good, and then I have Ken Landgraf, which I am kind of saving as a surprise. Though you can see, and I'll put a link in the description. Ken Landgraf took 20 minutes of video time on his channel, his YouTube channel, to record in ink and talk about his Crom the Barbarian. Since he's so busy.
Oh, I'll have to check that
out. So it's just a really exciting time. As I said, this is my cover I'm working on right here.
Oh man, that looks so good.
So I'm actually taking a lead from you guys and really like pushing myself in the way of just exploring, having fun, maybe a little artsy fartsy, just that kind of thing. But the biggest push was, I have all the comic book sequential stories basically completed. I'll have some final touches, based on edits from Jake. But I have kind of cleared that place where the anxiety is not there any longer. Where like, oh, I got to get to these pages. Oh, I got to get to these pages. I got to put down a whole lot of effort. It's there. So I will be then able to start putting the layout together of the book. So the biggest timing now that I'm concerned about is the print-on-demand company I use. They don't have like a set turnover time when you put the order in, so they don't tell you like, oh, you'll have the book in 5 days or what have you. It can be,
oh gosh, so it could be a week, it could be a month.
Well,
it could be
it's usually if the worst case scenario has been a little over 2 weeks, because I want to get you guys proof copies with your cover, your pinups as the art for the virgin cover versions, and then obviously get you guys back on an update. So then we can kind of hammer out the final, here and there's and go from there. But I'm super excited, and having you guys on board has been nothing but like positive reinforcement and excitement for getting things done. And I talk about this all the time with Jake on our podcast. Comic books, making them, I don't think they really should be a solitary thing. I mean, you can make it, write and draw all that you want, but to have a group, and of people that are like-minded and just enthusiastic and professional, like all the guys I've enlisted here, there's something really to be said. It's almost like a silent, like, I don't want to let them down. So
oh, absolutely. I mean, it almost like kind of feels like the Super Friends coming together or whatever.
Exactly.
It's like, no, it really does, because it's very encouraging to see, what other people are working on, and then to kind of check in every now and again. And I mean, again, like if I hadn't have talked to you initially with like what I had come up with, like I wouldn't have even done this drawing.
Right.
And even outside of it being like, for a book or, we're working together, like as a personal thing, like this is probably the biggest, drawing I've followed through on and like been happy with, and it was like, and it's something that like, like I don't know, I felt like I put a decent amount of like thought into it, as opposed to like, I'll start something in the sketchbook and abandon it, or it'll just remain as a sketch, you know what I'm saying? Right. But the follow through, I would not have had that follow through if I didn't have like, you guys to keep coming back to and keep looking at what you guys are working on. And, like you said, it's just a very, I think the sum ends up being greater than the parts when it comes to something like
Yeah.
that. We all end up benefiting from it personally, and I think as a group as well.
Yeah. Very well put. Very well put. Because, like I said, I want to keep this going based on the success of releasing, which I'm thinking is probably going to be June to be safer than trying to push things and getting stressed and anxious for May. I'm going to go for a June release, which right now is feeling more and more doable than pushing for a May. Because there's the one thing in planning a project we very rarely do, artists being, is you always have to plan the unforeseeable. So there's always some fly in the ointment that comes along and you didn't anticipate it, and you've got to pivot, and that could actually usually does take more time and pushes things. So if you do give yourself a breath that way, then by the time you do have the release day coming, you might be a week ahead. So you got kind of a week to breathe and really tighten up some of the marketing stuff and everything. Yeah. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. And then I've been telling everybody I'm going 8.5 by 11 on the book. And it's really to accommodate everybody's kind of maybe varied size and art. But it's also to move the kind of synonymousness to then the Crom anthology that I will do as a follow-up to the Crom Collected revised edition. So, and that's going to be me continually working on Crom material. And hopefully, maybe, who knows, some other individuals would like to contribute their versions of.
I might have something for you, but I might have to get together with you
absolutely.
to swap some notes and stuff, because this is, gut and ghost is one thing. I feel like I'm kind of just making it up as I go along, but something like this, I think this will be where the benefit of the group definitely making the end product a little bit closer to what it should be, I guess. I don't know how to put that.
No, because I'm not going to stop doing these updates. These updates are going to keep rolling.
Yeah.
They'll be a heavy part of the promotion of the release of the book, because I'm foregoing the whole Kickstarter thing. Book will be done and ready to be printed. It'll be print on demand. So once you make that purchase, it'll then go into the printing process, and then it'll get shipped right to you. So, and then as I've been saying, thinking out loud, is that your guys' Virgin covers will only be released for that 1 month. And then based on that success, I want to get as many copies in your hands, because when somebody down the road says, "Oh man, I really wanted a copy of Jason Schoonover's version," like, no problem, you got to purchase it from Jason Schoonover. So that's one of the things that I'm hoping to really promote and get going on this. So it's good. It's a good feeling, and I was saying to David and just there, I really enjoy working with people. I think the one hardest part about going about art making, or being an artist or an illustrator or comic book art, whatever it is that you get titled, all of that time being productive in the studio, there's a lot of reward in it, but there's another layer and level when you're working with a group, and it's funny because working with Jake on Turbo, it's always fun to get phone calls from him or emails where he's just fired up about, hey, we should try this, right? And myself in return. It might not actually come to any reality, but it's just fun to do it with somebody else than talking to yourself.
That energy. That energy goes somewhere rather bouncing inside of your skull until it doesn't make any sense anymore. It's that camaraderie. I mean, you touch a little bit of that when you do drawing classes in college, or you attend life drawing. It's the same thing. I experience that now when I go to yoga. It's just as simple as everybody breathing and moving in unison, but doing it in their own kind of way. There's something that's really, it really grounds you to I don't know, a time and a place, and I don't know, it just feels more real than when you kind of lock yourself away and just kind of piddle at a desk
Right.
for however
Right.
long.
So yeah, that's really going to be one of the things I maintain the most on this project, going into Crom Anthology, is the community and the
Yeah,
networking from that point. So it's like I'm just as excited about getting these pages done and working with you guys, but I'm even getting a little bit more excited about a year or two from now and the type of community that can be built around it. Because I keep saying there's
yeah,
not a lot of people out there that are into said black and white, indie, sword and
yeah.
sorcery, fantasy, comic books. It's like, yeah, you can get all these words added to your SEO, but at the same time, like
Hmm.
getting those good intersections and everything. But, Jake
Yeah,
and I have been experiencing a lot of really positive feedback in our indie comic exchange, as well as when we get a teaser done and we get it out to another, another creative and everything. So, it's, and I also just really get curious about the future and arts and all the things that
yeah.
are coming in. I think the one thing that's not going to go away, but I think could end up getting even more uh, alive, is the groups, the art groups, and the working together and the such. So we'll see.
Definitely. No, I think you're right about that, especially with like the rise of
Yeah,
AI. It's like I think the people that aren't into that are definitely gonna be craving more of something with a human touch, and I think the creators are probably gonna find that again, like you get more of that when you work together and you put your heads
yeah,
together and stuff. So I think you're spot
right.
on about that.
So with that being said, do you have any questions for me at this point?
Man, I cannot think of a single one.
Well, you know how to get in touch, and we're going to stay in touch
Yeah.
because you still have to make a scan of this, right? So you have a scanner on site?
Yeah.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
I'm gonna get that done tonight for
can you?
sure, and I'll get that sent over. Either if I don't have it sent over by tonight, it'll be by
No
tomorrow
worries, no
morning.
worries. Yeah, and then 400 DPI if you have
Okay,
that.
400. I'll do
Yep,
that.
yep, yep. That's always a
Yeah,
little better cider wise. And yeah, TIFF a TIFF file is always good, but JPEG is just as good too. So
yeah. I usually either do TIFF or PNG because I guess both of them don't. What do you call it? Digital, like deteriorate or
correct,
whatever, like JPEGs do.
correct.
I guess they
Yeah.
deteriorate, which is
Right.
strange.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's just the way it holds all that information. But
Yeah.
well, I am glad we were able to get this update together, and I once again cannot thank you enough for participating and obviously delivering on a really extraordinary concept. And I think something too that's gonna
Oh, thank you.
it. I've been really excited about the idea of having a whole bunch of covers of the same material, as they do with the Virgin covers, or the variant covers, excuse me, where people are like, wait a second, this is really interesting, like there's
Yeah.
different doorways. It was even with Adams. I was like, this, I didn't see it this way before, but now it's like, the way he has it, it's this psychedelic curtain that
Oh
Crom and
yeah.
Tennant are there, kind of like, are they coming through? Or are they inviting us in? So it's a
Yeah.
super,
It's a little
it's
both.
a
Yeah.
super, it gets me so, I'm so art nerdy that way. And so
I love it,
these are,
man. Yeah, he's got a real like Jack Kirby feel to like all those designs and stuff, and like the psychedelics. I mean, the pen work looks so
yeah,
sharp
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. So
Oh man, that really came together
yeah,
well.
so we're this is gonna be great. So yeah, I will be in touch. I've been telling everybody about 2 weeks from now, I'm probably going to be able to give at least an email out to everybody. But I'm also telling everyone, as a contributor to said upcoming Crom anthology, if you want to just jump on, schedule some time, jump on. You have some ideas, you want to just move some things around. As a matter of fact, Monday night I'll be hanging with Drawn Sword, who's getting a collection of his work together and some new pieces together for an art book. So, I over time, I think, as we just said, you can kind of get a little stir crazy on your own. So, when I reached
Yeah.
out to ask him how he was doing, he says he was, trying to figure some things out. And so I said, hey, why don't we just jump on and figure some things out? So
Yeah.
I'm always here, and I will keep you guys abreast of how things are moving along.
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely take you up on that, and I really appreciate you thinking of me for this project. It's been quite fun to work on and see everybody's piece, and yeah, I don't know. It's just been it was really
Good.
good. It's something to look forward to a little bit every
Yeah,
day.
exactly. So, all right. Well, with that being said, we'll let these guys get back to, and gals, back to reading comics, making them if they do. And
That's
I'll
right.
see you soon again.
Sounds like a plan, Kurt.
All
See ya.
right.